All right. Good evening, students. I hope I'm audible. Shubhanil, Abhiram, Norez, आवाज आ रही है? Good evening. Right. So, in our last lecture, we were talking about life within the Harappan civilization. And we had already talked about their economic life. We had noted the important developments with regards to agriculture, trade, commerce, craft production, etc. Now let us talk about their social life, right? तो क्या फीचर्स देखने के लिए मिलते हैं हमें सोशल लाइफ के? What kind of a society existed? Was the society a completely flat one, or was there economic stratification? Economic stratification was clearly visible. It is easy to discern the distinction between the rich and the poor. कैसे? On the basis of the differences in the houses, the graves, the urban morphology, the distribution of material remains, etc. There exist both palatial, several roomed bungalows as well as single roomed apartments. There exist both elaborate graves with extremely valuable materials buried along with their occupants and ordinary graves. There is a clear distinction between the ruling class quarters and the ruled class quarters, upper town and lower town. There exists a clear distinction in the distribution of material resources in the upper town and the lower town. Items of higher value are found in which town? Upper town, and of lower value from the lower town, right? At the same time, the degree of inequality was it comparable to other Bronze Age civilizations, or was it relatively lower? Degree of inequality relatively lower. The society was more egalitarian. Why are we saying this? Yes. Yes. That burnt bricks were used for the construction of the houses of both the elites as well as the common people. What did the composition of the society look like? Was it homogeneous or diverse? Diverse. There coexisted in the Harappan cities multiple races or ethnicities, along with multiple faiths, right? Can we make any announcements with regards to the status of women in society? देखने में क्या लगता है? It appears that women enjoyed relatively higher status or lower status in society. Relatively higher status in the society. क्यों? Because of the discovery of large numbers of mother goddess idols and seals. That means female deities predominated, right? However, this particular understanding has been challenged by recent scholarship. Modern anthropologists क्या बोल रहे हैं? That simply the deification of women is no guarantee of women enjoying a high status in society. Even during the early medieval and medieval periods, there were very powerful Hindu goddesses, right? But did actual Indian women experience the same kind of respect in society? No, they were treated quite poorly, right? So this particular aspect has been challenged more recently. Further, the social culture of the Harappan people, what did it reflect? Did it paint the picture of constant conflict or relative peace? Relative peace. कैसे बोल सकते हैं हम ये? Because from the archaeological findings, there is no evidence to indicate that in order to maintain control over a particular region, some other people had invaded it or knocked down important structures, killed people. So there is no evidence of a great battle ever having occurred during the Harappan civilization. तो कोई internal warfare battle strife ये सब नहीं हो रहा था. And if such a strife is not happening, what does that tell you? Social bonds within the Harappan society, were they weak and superficial or were they strong? Strong social bonds थे. So there was strong social and cultural unity. And the society valued cooperation more than conflict, right? What does this tell us about the nature of the Harappan society and culture? Progressive था, कॉस्मोपॉलिटन था या फिर रिग्रेसिव एंड वॉल्ड ऑफ इंसुलर था? प्रोग्रेसिव था. All this points towards the existence of a progressive, assimilative and cosmopolitan culture. This fact is further driven home by evidence which supports the presence of extensive internal and external trade. Could this have been possible if the Harappan people had been hostile to outsiders and other cultures? Possible नहीं हो सकता था ऐसा. ठीक है? So these are the things that we can get to know about the Harappan society from the archaeological remains. Give the heading social life. What could have been the reason for the fortifications if there was peace? So reasons may have been different. Security is the most obvious reason, but more important than that, may have been the need to demarcate clearly the distinction between the ruling class and the ruled class. So it may have been an ideological tool used by the ruling class to separate themselves from the ordinary class of people and to ideologically enforce their domination. Right? So that may have been another factor. Clear? All right. तो क्या हेडिंग लिखा है आपने? सोशल लाइफ लिखो. The Harappan society was a stratified one. Was a stratified one with clear demarcation. With clear demarcation between the rich and poor. Between the rich and poor. Full stop. Sub point. Merchants, traders, and the political elite constituted the upper echelons. ECHELONS, upper echelons of the society. Next point. On the other hand, craftsmen, laborers, and cultivators constituted the common classes. Next point. This stratification is clearly visible. In the types of houses, graves, urban morphology, and distribution of material remains. Urban morphology and distribution of material remains left behind material remains left behind by the Harappans. Next main point. While distinct economic classes existed, comma, the level of economic inequality seems to be much lower in relation to other Bronze Age civilizations such as Mesopotamia or Egypt. Full stop. Subpoint. Unlike Those cultures, comma, the Harappan elite, the Harappan elite did not construct grand monuments such as palaces, temples, and pyramids. Next up point. Instead, comma, the fair distribution of wealth, the fair distribution of wealth was reflected in the widespread use of burnt bricks, comma, the availability of high quality sanitation and drinking water services to ordinary people, the access to high quality sanitation and drinking water services to ordinary people, comma, extensive town planning, and high degree of literacy indicated by the widespread use of script, indicated by the widespread use of script. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट लिखो. The Harappan Society appears to be a diverse one, composed of several ethnicities, cultural groups, and religious communities. Right? So it was a diverse society. Next point likho. Main point. It appears that women enjoyed a place of prominence. In society due to the large number of mother goddess idols and seals. Full stop. Subpoint. However, comma, modern anthropologists argue that the simple belief in female deities does not necessarily indicate necessarily indicate the simple belief in female deities does not necessarily indicate favorable conditions for women. ठीक है. Next main point. The Harappan Society was a remarkably peaceful one. Full stop. There is no archaeological evidence to suggest internal warfare among Harappans for gaining control. Subpoint. This points to strong bonds of social and cultural unity. Among Harappans. Full stop. Next point. Additionally, this indicates the existence of an elaborate and efficient political system which did not rely upon force to gain control or to maintain control. So there must have been other mediums for exercising control, such as ideology or religion, or maybe interdependence on trade, or maybe kinship and kinship ties, etc., or maybe economic interdependence. इस तरह के factors probably political unity or stability को facilitate करते होंगे rather than the use of force. But this at the same time also indicates the presence of strong social and cultural bonds of unity between the Harappans. Last main point likho. All these things indicate that the Harappan society was a progressive, open, and cosmopolitan society. Full stop. Subpoint. Without this, the Harappans would never have had the flourishing trade that they enjoyed with the Mesopotamians and other foreign cultures. ठीक है। नाउ ये तो हो गए डिटेल्स अबाउट देयर सोशल लाइफ। व्हाट अबाउट देयर रिलीजियस लाइफ? What were the characteristics of Harappan religion? It seems to be a combination of animism and fertility cult. Were any sacrificial rituals involved? Yes. तो रिलीजन किस तरह का था? फिलोसॉफिकल वन और मटेरियलिस्टिक वन? Was there any single dominant religion or multiple faiths coexisted? प्लूरलिस्टिक सोसाइटी था. Does religion seem to be a private affair or something which was observed publicly? Private affair tha. Why? Because from all these sites we have not found any public temples or shrines. ठीक है. हाँ, तो सील्स थी. हाँ, तो उसमें गॉड्स एंड गॉडेसेस के इमेजेस होते थे, बट वी डू नॉट नो फॉर सर्टेन व्हाट दोज इमेजेस रिप्रेजेंटेड. सेकेंडली, फॉर रिलीजन टू बी अ पब्लिक अफेयर यू मस्ट हैव पब्लिक प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप आल्सो ना. ऑल द प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप कहाँ पे लोकेटेड थे? इनसाइड द हाउस होल्ड, राइट. एंड ये जो आइटम्स थे, वर दीज, जैसे कि सील्स हो गए या पॉट्स हो गए, वर दीज आइटम्स ऑफ पब्लिक यूज और फॉर प्राइवेट यूज? प्राइवेट यूज के आइटम्स थे, आर्टिफैक्ट्स थे, आर्टिकल्स थे, राइट. So all these were could probably be found either inside the household of a private individuals or on their person. या तो अपने जेब में लेकर के घूमेंगे, हाथ में पकड़ करके घूमेंगे, या फिर घर में रखेंगे. These kinds of things we'll find, right? Does there appear to be any state religion? No. So there was, the state was secular. Have images or idols of gods and goddesses been found from the Harappan cities? नहीं मिले हैं. मदर गॉडेस के आइडल्स, पशुपति के सील्स, मदर गॉडेस के सील्स सब मिले हैं कि नहीं मिले हैं? मास्क ऑफ अ हॉर्न डेटी, दीज काइंड्स ऑफ थिंग्स हैव बीन फाउंड. सो आइडल्स और religious icons existed, but we do not have any clear indication of idol worship. क्यों बोल रहे हैं हम ऐसा? Even in homes or in temples, whenever idols are worshipped, how are they worshipped? कुछ किया जाता है क्या? कि आगे धूप बत्ती जलाई जाती है, या फिर हवन किया जाता है, कोई टीका लगाया जाता है, और सम गारमेंट्स और फ्लावर्स और समथिंग इज ऑफर्ड, राइट? ये सब किया जाता है. ऑल दीज थिंग्स लीव बिहाइंड देयर मार्क ऑन दोज आइडल्स, राइट. लेकिन from none of the idols of the Harappan deities have any such marks of worship been discovered. तो किसी पे कोई बर्न मार्क्स, इंसेंस के बर्न मार्क्स नहीं लगे हुए हैं, किसी पे टीका नहीं लगा हुआ है, एटसेट्रा. These kinds of things are known to us, right? Was the Harappan religion a completely rational one, or did there exist superstitious beliefs and practices also? Superstition था, belief in spirits, charms and spells is also evident. कैसे पता हमें? From several of the graves, totemic items such as amulets have been found. तो तावीज वगैरह मिले हैं. Then, did the Harappans believe in the afterlife, in the concept of life after death? Yes. इसमें जरूर बिलीव करते थे. ठीक है. These are the features. Write down. Sir, great bath for ritual bathing can't make religious, might be public affair in certain pockets, but we don't know on which occasions this kind of ritual bathing took place. Was it actually ritual bathing associated with religion, or religious bathing associated with some political structure? So maybe Tajposhi ki ceremony mein wo ritual bathing karte ho, etc. These kinds of things, right? Regarding idol worship, if there have been found no remains of any marks of worship, does it necessarily mean that there was no idol worship? Absence of proof is not proof of absence after all. Yeah, you are right. And in fact, this has been a major cause of debate between historians. R.S. Sharma is the strongest voice who supports the idea that Harappans worshipped idols. But on the other side, almost all notable historians agree that while idols existed, idol worship was not performed. So it is a matter of debate even now, with the historical opinion weighing down in favor of the absence of idol worship. That is why we have made this clear cut pronouncement कि idol worship नहीं होता था. ठीक है. Shubhranil, did I clarify your doubt? So we are not entirely certain about the ritualistic significance of the great bath. So that is why we are saying कि कोई public religious structures exist नहीं करते थे. हाँ, ritual bathing के लिए probably use होता था, but what kind of ritual we are not sure about. Write down. Give the subheading religious life और लिखो Harappan religion was a mixture of animism, and fertility worship. Sub point. Prominently and painted pottery along with depictions of trees such as the people tree. Full stop. This indicates that nature worship was an important component of the Harappan belief system. Full stop. Next point. Simultaneously, the popularity of the fertility cult is attested to by the widespread representation of the mother goddess, comma, phallic and yoni symbols, phallic and yoni symbols, male and female reproductive organs, right? Phallic and yoni symbols, comma, fire altars, fire altars, and snakes, and snakes. So snake, since the ancient period, has been a symbol of renewals, has been a symbol of fertility. क्यों? थोड़ा भी बड़ा होता है तो सबसे पहला काम क्या करता है? It sheds its skin and grows a new skin. So it is as if it is reborn entirely, right? So it has become a symbol of fertility. Clear? So ये तो हो गया a combination of animism, nature worship and fertility cult. Next main point लिखो. The Harappan religion seems to be materialistic. Seems to be materialistic. Full stop. The Harappans probably worshipped different gods and goddesses and performed various rituals. To do what? To fulfill their desire and overcome their fears. To fulfill their desire and performed various rituals to fulfill their desires for wealth, fertility, productivity, children, safety, etc. शुभ्रनिल कौन सा पॉइंट रिपीट करना है? फर्स्ट सब पॉइंट क्यों कौन सा वाला है? फर्स्ट सब पॉइंट Animals feature prominently on Harappan seals and painted pottery, along with depictions of trees such as the peepal tree. This indicates that nature worship was an important component of the Harappan belief system. ठीक है? All right. हाँ, कहाँ तक पहुंचे थे हम? Materialistic faith था, right? Then next, right? Next main point. The Harappan society was a pluralistic one. Was a pluralistic one with multiple faiths and belief systems flourishing side by side. Flourishing side by side. Full stop. Sub point. This is indicated by the discovery of a large variety of burial practices, comma, cultic objects, and images and idols, images and idols of different gods and goddesses, of different gods and goddesses. ठीक है? So there were multiple faiths and a pluralistic society. Next, main point लिखो. It appears that religion was a matter of personal faith, and did not feature prominently in public life. Did not feature prominently in public life. Full stop. Subpoint. This is indicated by the absence. Of any public shrines or temples dedicated to different gods and goddesses. Next subpoint. Harappans worshipped different gods by offering small sacrifices to them within their houses. ठीक है? चाहे water altar हो, चाहे fire altar हो, etc. All these things are usually found inside the household, not outside. Next point, next main point. It appears that the Harappan state did not have any state religion. And the society was a secular one. Full stop. Subpoint. This is proved by the absence. Of any type of religious public monument in the entirety of the Harappan civilization. Full stop. Next main point. While idols were present in the Harappan civilization, comma, according to most historians, comma, idol worship was not practiced. Full stop. Subpoint. This argument is supported by the absence of any marks, any marks on the idols, within brackets you can write, such as incense burns, such as incense burns, close brackets, which may indicate that they were objects of worship, that they were objects of worship. ठीक है? Next main point. The Harappan belief system, was not entirely rational. Superstitions, full stop. Superstitions prevailed. And Harappans believed in spirits, magic, charms, and spells. Spirit, magic, charms, and spells. Subpoint. The discovery of totemic items such as amulets and charms worn by the Harappan people have been discovered from their graves. ठीक है? And last में लिखो. हाँ, last main point. The Harappans also believed in the concept of life after death. As indicated by the discovery of grave goods such as pottery, food grains, slaughtered animal bones, tools, ornaments, and other items of common use from their graves. The purpose of burying them was so that these things could be used by the occupant of the grave in the afterlife. Okay, food for eating, those other things for living the daily lives. Clear? So these were the main features of their religious life. Take down a question. Highlighting the essential characteristics of Harappan religious life, comma, compare it to the early Vedic religion. Word limit 215 marks. Right? Now, one portion of this question you'll be able to answer, you'll be able to highlight the essential characteristics of Harappan religious life. लेकिन दूसरा वाला जो portion है, comparison with early Vedic religion, for that first we need to cover the early Vedic age. तो हरप्पन के बाद हमें कैलकुलेट करना है, फिर उसके बाद वही early Vedic age cover करना है. So by the time you end that chapter, you should be able to construct a satisfactory answer. ठीक है, पहला वाला तो आप भी कर सकते हो, सेकेंड पोर्शन उसके बाद पॉसिबल होगा. राइट, तो ये तो हो गया रिलीजियस लाइफ ड्यूरिंग द हरप्पन सिविलाइजेशन. देन मूविंग ऑन टू हरप्पन आर्ट. How did the Harappans express their artistic creativity? By making seals, beads, bronze art, terracotta figurines, and stone sculpture. ठीक है, what were the characteristics of the Harappan seals? They were square or rectangular in shape, roughly 2 square inch in size, made out of statite. क्या है ये? It is a soft riverine stone, right, which was usually excavated from the river beds. Sedimentary rock होता है, right? Then were these featureless or did they have certain etchings on them, certain carvings? Carvings होती थी. किस तरह की carvings होती थी? Intaglio carvings or relief carvings? No, intaglio carvings होती थी. They were covered in intaglio carvings. What are intaglio carvings and relief carvings? जो अभी मॉडर्न करेंसी होता है उस पे भी कुछ ना कुछ बना होता है. किस तरह से बनाया जाता है? What does it appear? Is the carved portion raised or is it depressed? Raised, right? Background जो है वो flat होता है, जो carved portion होता है raised होता है. So it appears that the material has been removed from the background, flattening it while leaving behind the raised portion, the actual object. इस तरह की carvings को बोलते हैं relief carvings. इसका जो उल्टा process होता है, where the background is left alone and the actual object is made by removing certain material, that is known as intaglio carving. ठीक है, सो इंटाग्लियो कार्विंग्स बनाई जाती थी. इस पे क्या क्या मिलता है इंटाग्लियो कार्विंग से? एनिमल फिगर्स, we find, right? Most prominent animal figure, most frequently found, the bull, right? Then we find figures of trees. Which tree is most frequently depicted? The peepal tree. We find the figures of different gods and goddesses, deities. Most frequently, mother goddess is depicted. Do we find any human figures? Yes. Human figures are also found. And along with all this, almost all scripts, or sorry, almost all seals also carry an inscription in the Harappan script. ये सारी चीजें मिलती हैं, right? Now, why are we putting seals under the category of Harappan art? Because of the existence of these carvings. The Harappans depicted what they felt was culturally important to them, right? Then we have jewelry made of beads. बीड मेकिंग इंडस्ट्री को क्या बोलते हैं उस एक्टिविटी को? Lapidary. Most significant center of lapidary activities? Chanhud-Daro. Another important center for bead making and jewelry making? Lothal. ठीक है? What were the kinds of stones that were used? Semi-precious stones.